Hi there. Welcome to a series of videos called English for Emerson. On this channel we learn some basic reading and writing of English, and also we try to kill two birds with one stone on this channel. Meaning, yes, we learn some English, but we're also learning a little bit about life as we go. So hopefully I'm doing two things at once. I don't know. Maybe I'm not doing anything at once. That would be bad. But hopefully I'm doing at least some English education and maybe a whole lot more. We've been working on sayings. Like, maybe you would even call them folk sayings. I'm going to put that up here. Folk sayings. What's that mean? It means things from the old times. Like sometimes you'll have a folk music festival. A folk music festival. What does that mean? It means old time music. Old time instruments. Banjos and fiddles and dulcimers and mandolins and, guitars. Anything that's old, they'll have at this folk music festival. Do you follow me? It's stuff from the old times. Well, these sayings that I'm teaching, some of them are old sayings. And even though they don't apply to most people's lives anymore because we're in modern times, well, they carry a little bit of wisdom from the old times. And they're still used in our language today. We got another one today. It's called don't, with a capital D. Start at the top line, go all the way through the midline down to the bottom. We use up the space of 3 lines to do capitals on this channel. We're going to say don't put all of your eggs in one basket. That's our saying today. Don't. That's D-O-N apostrophe T. We know that this apostrophe right here, I'm going to write it up here, apostrophe. The apostrophe takes 2 words and shortens them up into one. Those 2 words would be do not. But we really wouldn't say do not put all of your eggs in one basket. We'll say don't. Okay? Apostrophe shortens up do not into don't. It kicks out the O in not. Poof! And shortens it up. Don't put. That's P U T. Notice that the lowercase p is the only letter here that goes down below the bottom line. There's only a few letters that go down below the bottom line, and lowercase p is one of them. Now we've got all. A, L, L. Of is O-F. Even though it sounds like O-V, it's O-F. The lowercase f is just a little droopy at the top. A little bit droopy. Like a dead flower. Don't put all of your Y-O-U-R eggs. 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 That's going to be E G G S. Eggs. We've been talking about this a lot lately, that when you have an ending of the word that sounds like a Z, you'd think it would be with a Z, but most of the time it's with an S. Don't put all of your eggs in I-N. I bet you know how to spell that. No problem. Don't put all of your eggs in one. We had this word the other day. One is a strange word because it starts with a sound w, 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 one, but it does not start with a W. At least when it's the number one, it does not. When it's the word like I won the game, like I'll put it up here, I won the game, then it does start with a W. There's two different kinds of ones. Where there's one that's the number one, like this, and then there's the kind that's I won the game, like up here. Two different, they spelled differently, but they sound the same, they mean different things. Don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Basket. What letter would I use to start the word basket? B. I hope you're thinking B. Ba. Ba. That'd be an A. Next. S. K. Basket. Gonna end with an E-T. Don't put all of your eggs in one basket. What does that mean? If you've got chickens, I'll bet that you go out to the chicken coop with one basket and bring the eggs back in. So why would they say don't put all of your eggs in one basket? Well, I imagine if you had 50 chickens or something like that, well, then you would need more than one basket. But if you've only got 10 chickens, you probably only need one basket. Why do they say don't put all your eggs in one basket? Well, chances are that if you had a heck of a lot of eggs, let's say you had 20 eggs and you put them all in one basket, maybe the handle would break. Or maybe one would fall out and roll out and break on the ground. Maybe you'd trip and one of them would roll out of there. Makes sense, but what they're really trying to say here is that in life, you don't want to put all your resources into one spot. You want to spread things out a little bit. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm going to write it up here. Spread things out. I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to talk a little bit about money right now. Let's say that you had saved up a bunch of money, like quite a bit of money. You wouldn't necessarily want to put it all in one investment. What's an investment? An investment, I know I'm going off here a little bit but I'm gonna bring it home. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's an important subject. I hope you'll listen to me. An investment is something that you buy with the hope that it will give you return for your money. Like, let's say you had $100 and you invested in it in something. You would hope that maybe you could get back $110 or $120 with your investment. Because let's say you had $100 and you just kept it in the bottom of your sock drawer for a year. When you come back, it's still only going to be $100. Yes, you haven't lost anything, but you haven't gained anything either. People invest in things to try to get some return on their money. They try to get return on their money. They try to get their money to work for them. Well, how do you do that? Well, you invest it in a savings account that pays interest. Interest is the return on your money. It's a payment for your deposit. Return on your money is what interest is. Your money pays you a little bit. Not necessarily a lot, but you can get some interest on it. But if you put all your savings into one thing, that is a little bit dangerous. I'm going to give you an example, and then I'm going to stop the video. Don't worry. This is a story. A few years back, actually it's more than a few now, about 18 years back, we had a financial crash in America. Actually, it was worldwide. What does that mean, a financial crash? It means that people did not have enough money to pay their bills. They didn't have enough money to pay their loans that they'd taken out from banks. And then the banks started to fail because the banks didn't have enough money to pay their customers if the people came in to get their money out of the bank. Well, it was a big fiasco. A lot of people lost a lot of money. Some banks shut down. They went bankrupt. A lot of companies did too. And I remember hearing about a guy who put all of his eggs in one basket. He was an employee of a company in America that makes cars, the biggest car maker in America, called General Motors. He worked there at the plant, at the factory, making cars. I don't know what he did there, but he worked there his whole life, making cars. And when he had some extra money, he would always invest it in General Motors bonds. Now, a bond is when a company borrows money to run their business. Because a lot of times, big companies need to borrow money, just like everybody else. Like, for example, let's say that General Motors makes 1 million cars in a year. Well, to roll those cars out onto the street, they have to have tires. 4 on each car, plus a spare tire that goes in the trunk. Well, that'd be 5 tires for every car. Well, that would mean if they made 1 million cars, they would need 5 million tires. Well, they have to borrow money to pay the tire maker a lot of times. They don't have enough money in the bank to pay him right away. So this guy would always, when he had some extra money, buy General Motors bonds, which means he would give General Motors, let's say $100, and at the end of a year, General Motors would give him his $100 back plus 10% interest. Let's just say 10%. 10% interest. So at the end of a year, he would make $110. He put in $100, and at the end of a year, he got back $110. He made interest of $10 for every $100. Okay, let's just say. Well, he had thousands of these bonds. Thousands and thousands of these bonds. He'd saved up a lot of money over time. And General Motors was always issuing these bonds. He would buy them and get money back at the end of the year. He put all of his savings in it. Well, in this great financial crisis, General Motors went bankrupt, which means they lost all their money. They didn't, and not all of it, but they couldn't pay their bills anymore. They couldn't run the company anymore. They had to shut it all down and reorganize, which meant they weren't going to be able to pay back the people who had lent them money, all the bondholders. So this guy who had put all of his savings for his whole life in General Motors, he put all of his eggs in one basket, and he'd made a lot of money over the years with this, but all of his bonds were basically worthless. He put all of his eggs in one basket. What I'm trying to say is, this is a very famous old folk saying. And it means if you have some savings, spread it out a little bit. Maybe take some and invest in one company over here, invest in one company over here, put a little bit in the bank over here, maybe put something in the stock market over here. Spread out your eggs a little bit, because if the basket falls apart, if the bottom falls out of that one basket you got all your eggs in, or the handle breaks, all the eggs will be cracked. Do you follow me? This is a very old folk saying. Someday when you get some money and you got to invest it to make a little bit of return on your money, you might hear this. You're going to hear it. Someone's going to say, it's important. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. It's a very old and wise folk saying. And that's all I got to say today on English for Emerson. Good lesson. Famous folk wisdom. There you go. Bye-bye.